So last weekend, Asics announced the Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Metaspeed Edge Plus. So these are going to be the next generation of what we saw from the first Metaspeed Sky and Metaspeed Edge. But since that announcement, I've been getting a lot of questions, a lot of messages. People just seem kind of confused. So I thought I'd make a video to help clear up any confusion. A lot of the questions I've been getting are like, is this the Metaspeed Sky 2? Is this like the Endorphin Pro Plus? And also, well, what's the difference between the Sky Plus and the Edge Plus? So hopefully this video will help answer a lot of those questions for you. Alright, so first up, the question is the Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Edge Plus just the first Metaspeed but with a new upper on it, like what Saucony did with the Endorphin Pro Plus? Which I can see the confusion there because people are like, oh, it's just the same thing plus a new upper, but that is not the case. I believe that Asics was originally going to call these Plus shoes the Metaspeed Sky 2 and the Edge 2, so I don't know why they ended up calling it the Plus. Honestly, it seems a little confusing, but they are brand new shoes top to bottom. It's not the Metaspeed Sky 1.5 or just a few tweaks. I'd say there's some pretty big changes. So that brings us to the next question of, well, what are the changes? So the Sky and the Edge both get some big changes. Starting with the Sky, this is the first Metaspeed Sky. And the changes, let's start with the upper. It gets a new upper called Motion Wrap, which is like a next gen of the upper they had on the first version. That's going to be a little more stretchy, a little more breathable in some areas, but also more structured and secure in others. They got rid of these awful laces, luckily, and now they're more like the Vaporfly Next% 2 laces. But a lot of the changes you're going to see in the midsole. So the Metaspeed Sky Plus is going to have the same stack height of 39 in the heel and 34 in the forefoot. However, instead of having the plate go along here where it goes more towards the bottom, in the Metaspeed Sky Plus, they're actually moving the plate up closer to your foot. So there's going to be more foam underneath the foot that the plate will compress, and this is supposed to be better for stride runners to give you more efficiency. They also increase the amount of foam under the forefoot. It kind of curves out a lot. So for the Metaspeed Sky Plus, it honestly looks kind of funky when you're looking at it from the side and from the top, but there's a lot more foam underneath that forefoot. And then the outsole too is very similar. It does get some tweaks though, just to make it a little more flexible, a little more durable. So then what about the Metaspeed Edge Plus? Well, honestly, I think this one gets the biggest amount of changes, mainly because it gets a bigger stack height. The first version of the Metaspeed Edge had a smaller stack height, and the Plus version, or the second iteration, now has a 39mm stack in the heel, and then it still has the 8mm drop, so it has a 31mm stack in the forefoot, and it's going to have a very aggressive plate that goes towards the bottom, kind of like how this plate is, where it's more down here, and then a kind of more aggressive rocker off the toe, but still same upper as the Metaspeed Sky Plus and same outsole as, or almost exactly the same outsole as the Metaspeed Sky Plus. So as you can see, there's some pretty big changes, and that's why I think that the Metaspeed Plus series are V2 of the shoes and not just, a minor tweak to the V1. So for the next version, I don't know if they're going to call them the Metaspeed Sky 2. I think that'd be kind of dumb if they did, but I guess we'll see. Anyways, the next question is, well, now we have a pretty similar Metaspeed Sky Plus and Metaspeed Edge Plus. Which one should I buy? So if we're looking at Asics' answer, it's if you are a stride runner, when you're picking up the speed, you have a longer stride, you're going to go for the Metaspeed Sky. But if you're a cadence runner, which means your stride is a little bit shorter, but you have that faster turnover, then you're going to want the Metaspeed Edge Plus. And what I've heard a lot of people say is, well, I don't know if I'm a stride runner or a cadence runner. And Asics acknowledges that, so luckily when these shoes drop, they are going to come out with tools where you can go online and enter, what your stride length is, what your cadence is, and it will help point you to which shoe. Most running watches nowadays will actually tell you an approximate stride length and cadence, so that should help with that. But honestly, the way I look at it is that the Metaspeed Sky Plus has a similar plate placement and rocker geometry as Nike's Alpha Fly, while the Metaspeed Edge Plus has a similar rocker geometry and plate placement as the Nike Vaporfly. So if you're somebody who tends to like that kind of snappy feel of the Vaporfly Next%, then you might like the Edge better. Or if you like that kind of less aggressive but more underfoot feel from the Alpha Fly, you might like the Sky Plus better. Honestly, if you really wanted to, you could probably do both. If you wanted to say, you know, like I'm running a 10K and I typically have a higher cadence on 10K, so I'm going to get the Metaspeed Edge Plus for that. But for marathon, I want that more underfoot, and you know, I tend to have a longer stride, so I'll have the Metaspeed Sky Plus for that. But in conclusion, it's kind of that stride versus cadence, as well as just your preference if you don't care about the scientific benefits to it. I'd say the final frequent question that I get is, when are these shoes releasing? They are releasing, I believe, June 14th, sometime in June. So we don't have to wait too long, fortunately. They're going to be the same price of $250. They're debuting in that sweet green color. I should be getting a pair a little bit before they come out, so I'll be able to give you my first impressions and see how they compare to this shoe, and I'll let you know what I think. I hope this video helped answer some questions for you. In conclusion, the new Metaspeed Plus series, I say, are a complete redesign. They're completely different shoes from the first version. They're going to feel different underfoot, so you're going to want to try them out and see which one works best for you. And I hope I brought you some clarity today. Can't wait to try them on and give you my thoughts. Until then, subscribe so you don't miss that video. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep on running.